OCO, everyone. This is week number 4 of the Cherokee Nation Gen Z Leadership Program. As you know, I'm Cynthia, and I'm joined by my co-facilitator, Abraham. And as usual, I want to start off by acknowledging the Cherokee Nation for hosting this leadership program. And of course, our amazing leader, our principal chief, Chuck Hoshkin Jr. So I have some good news to start off with. So as we've indicated before, if you complete all 6 sessions, you get a certificate, and you can use that certificate in lieu of doing community service for the scholarship. Now, we've extended the deadline, so your 6 sessions, either live or viewing them on the YouTube channel, can be done by May 21st. So you have until May 21st, but I highly recommend to go ahead and get it out of the way. I know a lot of people are asking questions. When you show up on the live webinar, we do have, from the back end, we can see who is here. So I know a lot of people are putting their name in, and that's okay. We'll make sure that you're counted. Now, if you have any questions in the chat, I put collegeresources@cherokee.org. You can always email them just to make sure that everything is good. So now that we have that out of the way, last week we talked about being humble and confident. And I have to say, Gen Z, because that's who this class is geared towards, Gen Z, you have a lot to be confident about. Now, some of you might be saying, I don't even know if I'm Gen Z. Well, Gen Z is defined, Generation Z is defined by if you were born between 1996 and 2012. So if you're following those years, then you are Gen Z. Now, in the United States, there are 65 million Generation Zs. And when I'm talking about you have a lot to be confident about, some of the qualities of Gen Zs, Gen Z tend to be multitaskers, meaning that you can do more things than one at a time. Some of the more mature generations, they can only do one thing at a time, but you guys are multitaskers. You're also realist. You look at the world in a very realistic way. Gen Zers also tend to be very technology savvy. I mean, you grew up with technology, and technology is second nature to you. The other good quality about Gen Z, you tend to be entrepreneurs. So as you go off and graduate from college and go into the world, most of you are going to have your own business and not really want to work for somebody else because you have that entrepreneur spirit. Gen Zers also tend to be adaptable. You adapt to change. You know, one thing we all can be certain of in this world is everything's changing, constantly changing. And so you guys adapt well, you don't get stuck. The other thing about Gen Z is that you have strong opinions and you want to be heard. And we've seen a lot of examples. For example, the environmental movement is really being spearheaded by the Gen Z generation. Also, gun control. We've seen gun control advocates really are the young people that have experienced the gun violence in schools. So the Gen Zers, you want to make sure that your voice is heard. So good for you. The other positive quality about Gen Zers is that you process information quickly and accurately. So I'm sharing all this with you, and it's probably things that you already know, but I want you to realize that, and as Gen Zers, you have a lot of great qualities and a lot of things to be confident about. So this week, we're going to talk about cooperation, being cooperative, and being patient. So, leadership lesson number 7, cooperative. Help one another. A true leader will cooperate with others and find the wherewithal to help people. I like to say it takes teamwork to make the dream work. Nobody is successful alone. So it's so important to cooperate with others. My personal philosophy is I feel you get more with honey than you do with vinegar. Now, what does that even mean? It means that if you're nice to people, people are going to have a tendency to cooperate with you. If you are mean to people, people may not want to work with you. So be nice. Since this is a leadership class, I wanted to share one of the oldest books about leadership, and probably one of the most famous, was actually written in the 16th century. The book is titled The Prince by Machiavelli. And in this book, which was actually written in 1532, Machiavelli talks about the prince and whether or not it's better for the prince to be loved or feared. Now, unfortunately, he came to the conclusion that he felt it was better for the prince to be a leader that was feared by his people. And so he ruled with an iron thumb. Well, I have to say that I respectfully disagree. I think if you're liked by the people that you're working with and you cooperate with them, it's a lot easier to get the job done. So I think it's simple. If you treat people with kindness and respect, people will cooperate with you. Now, let's face it, there's just going to be some people that never cooperate with you no matter what you do. And for those type of people, I really don't waste my time with them because those people, I call them the haters. Those people are usually have a lot of issues of their own. Maybe they have issues of anger, jealousy, insecurity, or maybe they're just negative people. And I really don't waste my time with the negative people. Now, I have to say that I've experienced the haters, I've experienced that negativity. Abraham can tell you that in the Native community, sometimes the Native community can be pretty brutal. So I had an experience where a guy who I didn't even know went after me on social media and he was questioning my authenticity. He said I wasn't Native and he said a lot of other bad stuff about me, and none of it was true. So it started going on social media. And then I had my brother and my friends calling me up saying, it's not true. He's saying lies. I need to defend you. And I said, no, don't defend me. Don't say anything. And they're like, no, we have to, set the record straight and tell them who you are. I said, I don't care first of all, the guy was not even Cherokee. And I didn't even know the guy. So whatever he was saying about me, I knew wasn't true. And my friends and family know who I am. So the way I handle the haters and the bullies, I ignore them. And it really drives them crazy. But by me ignoring him, guess what? By the next day, he stopped talking about me and he moved on to the next person. So again, when you have situations of people that are haters and bullies and they're not going to cooperate, don't waste your time with them. But the vast majority of people will cooperate with you as long as you're respectful and kind. So be nice, be respectful, and be cooperative. Now, today is March 31st, the last day of March. So we're at the end of Women's History Month. So I wanted to share a quote from a famous woman, female poet. Her name is Maya Angelou. She actually already passed on, but Maya Angelou was a very famous poet. And what she said is that people may not remember what you say, but they do remember the way that you make them feel. So when you're cooperative, people walk away feeling good. So cooperate with others, it makes them feel good, and it helps you lead you to success. So with that, I am going to turn it over to Abraham to talk about patience. Abraham, take it away.
Wado, Cynthia, I appreciate it. So everyone, I appreciate you guys joining us today. The second topic that the second leadership lesson we're going to talk about today is patience. So this lesson dictates that a great leader exercises patience with him or herself and others. They know that challenges are temporary and the benefits come from focusing on the long haul. So this is something that I've continued to work on in my life. But, our goal as Cherokee people and, your goal as future leaders in the community is to walk in balance, because you cannot transmit something that you don't yourself have. If you want legitimacy, if you want people to, follow what you are saying, then, your first goal is to, walk in balance, to maintain, your own personal wellness. And so that's also going to help you deal with life's challenges, which inevitably just keep coming. So practicing patience helps us to remain in balance. There are 3 key takeaways from this lesson that I would like for you to reflect on as we work to become more patient. So the first is be patient with yourself. That's one of the hardest things to do. Has been one of the most challenging things for me, but I've made a lot of progress, by working on this. So the second is to make sure that you are patient with others. Especially as Native people, we've gone through a lot of historical trauma. We've had a lot of adversity and things that we have to deal with. So I think, it's especially important for us to take care with one another, and just have that patience with one another and know that we're all healing from something. And, I think if we do that, it'll definitely, we'll be able to help each other out more. And the third takeaway for today is to understand that patience is a lifelong spiritual practice that will help you to be a better leader. So let's look at the first takeaway, being patient with yourself. So at our own risk, we've become too used to immediate results. This is something in my own life, as I look back, on examples of, having to use my patience. One of my biggest pet peeves I find is technology. When I'm on my phone or I'm on my computer, if it's not working right, if I press send or I press search or I press that button and it doesn't immediately pop up and do what I want, I get frustrated right away. So, I really, take care to recognize the things that make me that frustrated, whether it's, sitting in traffic or, maybe dealing with a family member or, some of your homework or dealing with a professor, whatever that thing is for you. And there may be several, it's really good to identify them first so that you can work on them. So, that's something that I make sure I work on now. I just take a deep breath. I understand this situation's temporary. It's not a big deal. And, just don't let that frustration disrupt your inner peace, because that can take you out of balance. And we're constantly growing and learning. If you look at where you were a year ago or 2 years ago, I'm sure you would see measurable growth. So, cut yourself a break and know that becoming frustrated doesn't make things happen any faster. It just makes us to have a bad time in the meantime. So the second key takeaway is to be patient with others. And patience helps us to show compassion toward others. We must realize that nobody is perfect and we cannot let other people's flaws frustrate us. For instance, let's say you have a lab partner or a coworker who's always late, or they show up late. See, if I show up late, it's okay because I probably had a flat tire or I had an issue at home or I had to help a family member. I have that patience with myself. But if you're late, that's just inconsiderate, and so instead, let's look at, well, maybe she's late because she's having a hard time this morning. Maybe instead of getting frustrated with her, let me go over and give her a kind word, or see if she wants a cup of coffee or something like that. So, just making sure that we have that compassion for other people. I think that goes a long way, and it will definitely, help the other person out, because I'm sure, if, like I said, if they're late or if they missed an assignment or something, they're falling behind, whatever it is, they're not having a good time with it. So, your compassion and your empathy will go a long way to helping the situation. So the third is, to understand that patience is a lifelong spiritual practice. This isn't something, that you just practice on the spot. It's something that you make it a part of your lifestyle, to have patience and be patient. They say that patience is a virtue. I've heard that my whole life. And, it definitely is. And it is one that is worth, working on a daily basis. Being impatient does nothing but give us terrible results. It can cause you to make poor decisions that affect your health and happiness. It can waste your time. It can put you under a lot of stress and hurt your relationships. So, if we're able to work on our patience, to have that care with ourselves, have that care with others, and then understand that, patience is going to be a lifelong process, I think, we'll have a lot more energy, and we'll be, definitely more balanced as the day goes on. So one tip is to just start a log of what frustrates you. Then the next time you come across this issue, just practice a patience exercise, whether it's deep breathing, taking a time out, doing a mindfulness exercise. If you look online, there are a lot of exercises to build your patience. So, I just want to say again, it's definitely something that is worth working on, because it could, really help your peace, really help your balance, and help your health overall. So, once again, I just want to make sure, if you're watching this recording on YouTube, feel free to drop your name under the video, and that way you don't have to email me. However, if you guys do have any questions, maybe your name didn't come up, you think, or anything like that, feel free to email me. I dropped my email in the chat. It's abraham-bearpaw@cherokee.org. And then also, if you have any questions about receiving the certificate or anything that pertains to that, you can email college resources. And so with that, I want to say, Wado, for your time. I appreciate it. And I hope that you join us next week on April 7th, where we are going to discuss communication and being responsible. Wado, everyone.
So now we can turn the recording off, and we're going to